It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Ajuatin Krama Domina. Coming up this afternoon, Court of Appeal acquits and discharges Minority Leader Dr. Kessie Latoforsen in the ambulance case.
Appealed that decision for us to open our defense. It is that appeal that today the Court of Appeal by a 2-1 majority upheld the appeal, thereby acquitting and discharging the Honorable Kessie Latoforsen and Ricky Zappa.
Also coming up, Minority in Parliament demands postponement of vetting of Supreme Court judge nominees scheduled for today over lack of proper procedure.
Madam Apieje, please repent from your sins and let us withdraw this and ask for forgiveness. And then as soon as possible, let's reschedule this.
Still in the bulletin. Dozens of La residents pour out on the streets to protest the less sale of state lands to members of the political class, and later Health Ministry refers driver at the center of 3 million condom diversion saga to police for investigation.
Because we reported the matter to the CID, we're expecting that by now we would have gotten by that, and also...
When you reported the case, was the driver arrested?
Yes, he was.
Stay with us for details of these and more stories coming your way in 30 minutes. Remember, this bulletin is live around the globe on citinewsroom.com, on YouTube and on Facebook. You can find us on Citi 97.3 FM across the country. We're live on a number of affiliate stations in the Western region: Beach 105.5 FM in Takrade, Bono region, Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. If you're in the Ashanti region, this is Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi, Orange 107.9 FM also in Kumasi. In the Volta region, Revival 99.3 FM in Tajebu. In the Northern region, Radio Bimbela 91.9 FM. In the Upper East region, Tanga 93.7 FM in Boga. And if you're in the Upper West region, this is Tunsong 97.3 FM in Wa and Jirapa 96.1. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
We're grateful for your time this afternoon. Let's begin from the court. And the Court of Appeal has overturned the High Court's order for Dr. Kessie Latoforsen to open his defense in the ambulance case. In a 2-1 majority decision, Justices Aka Boafo and Mensah granted the request, acquitting and discharging the accused, while Justice Ichampo dissented. Now, this ruling follows an earlier decision by Justice Sewa Asariboche, who had dismissed the minority leader's application for mistrial and inquiry into the Attorney General's conduct. The court deemed the trial judge's March 30, 2023 ruling on submission of no case to answer erroneous. Now, Edwiji Tamaklo, who is lawyer for Dr. Kessie Latoforsen, spoke to Bernard Avle on the City Breakfast Show shortly after the court proceedings this morning.
Lawyers for the accused persons did what we call a submission of no case. The court, the High Court, or that's the trial court, dismissed the submission of no case and ruled that a prima facie case had been made against the accused person, warranting them to open their defense. We appealed that decision for us to open our defense. It is that appeal that today the Court of Appeal, by a 2-1 majority, upheld the appeal, thereby acquitting and discharging the Honorable Kessie Latoforsen and Ricky Zappa. By this, the court further ruled that the order by the trial court judge for the accused persons to open their defense is hereby set aside.
So does that mean that all that the High Court has been doing is null and void? Aborted. How long has this case been running? In terms of the substantive case, how long has it been running, and when did you file the no case?
No, so as you are aware, the charges were brought December 2021, and we commenced the trial somewhere January 2022. Then the prosecution called about 4 or 5 witnesses. It was upon that basis that we did a submission of no case, and thereafter the ruling came. So when the ruling came, we were ordered to open our defense. Then we mounted the appeal, sir.
Does this appeal cover the other accused as well? Because
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That Richard Jaffa and Honorable Atufosin. Remember that the third accused has already been discharged by the filing of the nolle prosequi by the Attorney General. So it was left with the two accused persons.
You heard there Edujita Maklo, who is lawyer for minority leader Dr. KCL Atufosin. He was speaking to Bernard Affle on the City Breakfast Show. Well, we have been joined one more time by our court correspondent Hansen Ajiman for some more details on this decision by the court. Hansen, good afternoon. Thank you for your time this afternoon. Now, earlier in the morning when we spoke to you, you were giving us the details of where the case has traveled up onto. But now we want to get some clarification. Is it the case that Richie Japa has also been acquitted and discharged, or this is just for KCL Atufosin?
So what we get from the Court of Appeal is that the decision of the Court of Appeal affects both accused persons. So as we speak now, both Atufosin and Richard Japa appealed the decision, and on those bases as well, the Court of Appeal discharged the two of them. And so what we know is that the two of them have been acquitted and discharged. However, we also know that the case was scheduled to be heard today, and so we'll be following up at the High Court to get the finality really on what the situation will be.
Now, you have been speaking to some people who have been reacting to this particular ruling. What can you tell us?
So we tried as much as possible to engage Atufosin to speak to us, but he declined any interview. But we realized that he had posted on his official Facebook handle a post where he sought to give appreciation to God. And in that post, he questions whether God is unjust. And he answered, not at all. And he quotes from Romans 9, verse 14, which says, what then shall we say? Is God unjust? Not at all. So at least this is what we know is coming from Atufosin on what his own thoughts are. We've been in Parliament trying to engage some of his colleague MPs, and we chanced on the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. The Judiciary Committee is one of the new committees that have been instituted by Parliament to aid in the work of the legislature. So we spoke to the chairman of the committee, Cletus Avoka, who is an NDC MP himself, and he explained to us that he and his other colleagues are excited. They are happy and they are glad that the Court of Appeal finally has discharged and acquitted their colleague for something they believe he did no wrong on. They thought that the idea of the Attorney General prosecuting Atufosin just based on the letter that he had written was not enough to warrant the prosecution. However, he advised Atufosin not to pursue the case any further.
Right.
Asking a specific question as to whether Atufosin should sue the state for malicious prosecution or unlawful arrest. And he says he does not think that will be necessary, but the decision from the Court of Appeal is justice enough.
Very well. Thank you so much. Hansen Ajiman is our court correspondent. Now, let's listen to the chairman of the Judiciary Committee that Hansen was referring to, Cletus Avoka, who has been advising Atufosin after this acquittal and discharge.
So I was not surprised by the decision. What I was surprised about is the majority decision. I was surprised about the fact that somebody differed. I thought there would have been a unanimous decision.
Oh, that was your thinking?
Of them. Yeah, that was my thinking, because it was obvious that Atufosin had not done anything untoward in Ghana, I mean, on the ambulance case. But, justice has come to play. I'm satisfied with the outcome. I hope that the Attorney General will not exercise any discretion to make a further appeal to the Supreme Court. The case should rest there so that the country will move forward.
So you've talked about a further appeal. The state has the right to
they have that
further.
discretion. They have that discretion.
If the AG was listening to you or is minded to listen to you,
what will you tell?
If the AG is minded to listen, to read the judgment of the majority decision very well, and then he's minded of what is happening in the country today, the public comments on the case, he will advise himself to let the matter rest there at the court.
That's the chairman of the Judiciary Committee of Parliament, Cletus Avoka. Meanwhile, ranking member on that committee, Abdallah Idi, says the Attorney General did no wrong in prosecuting Kesi Elatofosin.
Oh, I'm indifferent. What really happens is that in Ghana, we have the public opinion, which is not the law, though. When a matter is before the courts, a lot of comments, a lot of public judges out there. Some will say he is innocent. Some will say he's innocent. So until proven guilty, nobody's a criminal. And so to me, it tells that our law is actually law. It is only law when the judges pronounce it. And so to me, I think that the law is working.
But what do you make of those who have based on this decision to say criticize the Attorney General, that he was being stubborn, that he ought not to have even started a prosecution in the first place?
I don't think those people know what the Attorney General stands for. Attorney General represents Ghana, the people, like we represent the people. So when there's anything against the state, it is the Attorney General who ought to do thorough investigations and then put it before courts. When he's not, if he takes his evidence to the court and the court thinks otherwise, he has not lost anything. But people should understand that the Attorney General represents government of Ghana, and government of Ghana represent the people.
So it's within his right to prosecute anybody?
Of course, it is within the right of any Ghanaian to go to courts and prosecute any agenda.
Now, for those who say that somebody must answer, and it must be somebody who is part of the NPP government, because for the past 8 years, the vehicles have been led unattended to, just for want of a better word, for the purpose of pushing their own agenda.
What is the reason? The reason was that aside the procurement bridges that were cited, there was also an issue of efficiency in the vehicles, whether or not they are workable. And if you compare them to the current ambulances, you realize that every now and then there are ambulances on the road, and that was the concern of many Ghanaian.
You had Abdallah Al-Hassan Idi. He's ranking member on the Judiciary Committee of Parliament. He was speaking to our court correspondent, Hansen Ajiman. Earlier, you heard the chairman of that same committee, Cletus Avoka, who was urging the minority leader to forge on and concentrate on the upcoming elections, because he believes that this matter is past and gone, so they should focus on the future that lies ahead of them. We'll try and get some more reactions to the story for you. But now the minority in Parliament has described the proposed vetting of 2 Supreme Court judges today by the Appointment Committee as illegal. The Speaker, Alban Bagwin, referred the nomination of Justice Sophia Ben Sako Issa and Professor Richard Frimpong to the committee's appointment for vetting following their nomination. In a preliminary remark at the sitting, the Minority Chief Whip Gavin Abuja expressed fury at the leadership of the Majority Caucus for convening the meeting, which they claim was at the blind side of the minority members of the House.
In my view, Chairman, you have called an illegal meeting. A meeting to vet the apex members of the apex court of our land, the Supreme Court, called at midnight can only be an illegal meeting or ill-motivated meeting. What would be the reason why a party in government would like to vet very respected group of people in this country, where if all of us disagree, they are the ones who will settle it for us? Their vetting will be such a controversy. I put on the platform, don't actually smear the Supreme Court judges by getting them involved in this shabby arrangement. Shabby arrangement. Because there's no rush. In fact, there's no vacancy at the Supreme Court, which is detrimental to the delivery of justice as we speak. Yes, some people may go on retirement later. We agree. So we came here and agreed that we'll set a date where colleagues, I'm not a lawyer, colleagues requested judgments and other things where we can all go through the CVs and everything. And then we are told that the majority leader came back and rubbish all that we have done, including his members on the committee.
You heard the Minority Chief Whip Gavins Agboja speaking on the vetting of some Supreme Court judges. But let's go back to our earlier story on the acquittal and discharge of KCL Atoforsen, the minority leader. We have been joined on the line by Abraham Amaleba. He's one of the lawyers of Dr. KCL Atoforsen and a member of the National Democratic Congress. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your company this afternoon. For the NDC, how does this news come to you?
Thank you for having me, but let me correct one statement you made, which is that I am a member of the legal team, but I suppose I am not. But having said that, let me indicate that for Atoforsen and his lawyers, it is what I would term as a welcome news to them, because they have always maintained that Atoforsen was not implicated, or for that matter, is not culpable, because he had instructions from the finance minister then. On the part of the government and the Attorney General, I think this ruling has saved the government and the Attorney General from further embarrassment. Don't forget about the embarrassment that took place some few weeks ago when it came to light that the Attorney General was the one who was coaching Jakpa to come to court and say certain things. So it has saved them from further embarrassment. And I think that thirdly, this ruling of the Court of Appeal has also saved the trial judge from any confusion that was in her mind concerning how to deal with the matter. And so I think that on the whole, it is the state that has lost. Don't forget that the Big C, the company that entered into the contract with the people of Ghana, had agreed to pay the 2 million euros, and take back their vehicles. But the Attorney General refused. So at the end of the day, the Attorney General has caused some financial loss to the state.
Mr. Amaleba, I know you are one of the people who have been calling for the resignation of the Attorney General because you believe that this was a witch hunt from the word go. Has this reinforced your position in any way?
Oh yes, the Attorney General himself, in the audio that you heard between he and Jakpa, told the whole world that clearly he was under pressure from the president and his cousin, Ken Oforata, to undertake this persecution. So I am clear in my mind that what was happening was not a prosecution, but it was a persecution. And the Court of Appeal has today brought all these matters to an end.
For the NDC, what is the way forward for you on this particular subject?
Well, as a political party, we are grateful and we still have the conviction that we still have judges who are bold spirits, who can defy government and then go ahead to, as it were, be faithful to the law. And so we want to thank said judges, and we think that we have more of those judges in the system.
Very well, thank you so much for speaking to us. Abraham Amaleba is Director of Conflict Resolution of the National Democratic Congress. He's also a lawyer and a member of the NDC. He was speaking to us on the discharge and acquittal of Dr. KCL Atoforsen, who is minority leader in Parliament. Well, let's stay on the minority leader because he wants the vetting of Supreme Court judges postponed until further procedure is followed.
Madam, this is not a banana republic. This is the Republic of Ghana. This is the Black Star of Africa. This is Kwame Nkrumah's Republic of Ghana. Please don't destroy our democracy. At the minimum, you have to give us the opportunity to steady the nominees, and the people of Ghana must see us that we are doing our work. We cannot joke with this democracy. These are some of the things that we do, and with the democracy elsewhere, they lose them. We will protect this democracy at all costs. You are putting somebody into a constitutional office until the age of 70. All what we are asking is that advertise for a minimum of 14 days, invite memorandums. So far, you have advertised for 4 days. Give us an opportunity to review the CVs. Today, you've called a meeting. Me today, I've not even read anything. How am I supposed to ask a question? And let me put it on record that the NDC minority is not against any of the two nominees in person. All what we are asking for is an opportunity to do our work well and then diligently do what the public have asked us to do. That's all. So please, Madam Apieje, please repent from your sins. And let us withdraw this and ask for forgiveness. And then as soon as possible, let's reschedule this.
Dr. Kessie Latofosen is Minority Leader in Parliament. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. When we return, Health Ministry refers driver at the center of 3 million condom diversion saga to police for investigations. We have the details for you shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Channel 1 TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on Channel 363. On GoTV, we're on Channel 117. And on HD+, get us on Channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search. But take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Channel 1 TV. Channel 1 TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box, like the DSTV and HD+ boxes. Channel 1 TV. Telling your story, empowering change.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. This is a Citi Prime News. We promised to bring you the story of the pack, but before we do that, let's just bring you breaking news that's coming in. The Attorney General has released a press statement on the Dr. Kessie Latofosen's acquittal and discharge. Caleb Kuda, my colleague, has joined me in studio for more on this. Caleb, what does the statement say?
So it's a press release from the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, and it has described it's not happy with the decision. It says the Office of the Attorney General considers the decision of the Court of Appeal to be perverse in the quest for public accountability and the rule of law. The decision clearly is heavily against the weight of the cogent evidence led by the prosecution in substantiation of all the charges against the accused person at the trial. The relevant facts of the matter as borne out by the undisputed evidence show that, and then it goes on to give their side of the argument. They conclude by saying the Office of the Attorney General considers the decision of the Court of Appeal grossly unfair to the nation and inimical to the fight against impunity and abuse in public office. The office will promptly file an appeal in order to erase the effect of this erroneous decision of the Court of Appeal. So, in simplicity, the Office of the Attorney General is serving notice that it will appeal the decision, and then it goes on to give grounds for which it feels that the judgment is perverse in the quest for public accountability.
All right, thank you so much. You had Caleb Kuda bringing us details of that statement from the Attorney General. So the breaking news is that the Attorney General says it will appeal the Court of Appeal decision to acquit and discharge Dr. Kessie Latofosen in the ambulance trial. Let's move on to some other stories. Now, the Ministry of Health says a case involving the alleged diversion of about 3 million condoms and contraceptives by a driver has been referred to the police for investigations. The driver, Joy Jaten, allegedly diverted the 1.3 million cedis worth of consignment meant for the Eastern Regional Medical Stores 2 years ago. The ministry says the suspected driver, who is retired and currently in poor health, is under investigation. Here's an interaction between chairman of the Public Accounts Committee and Director of Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry.
Driver immediately thereafter had a stroke, was very ill, but has also retired.
Did the driver provide any reasons why he could not deliver the items?
Yes, but Chair, please, I cannot recollect the reasons right now. But the matter was they just couldn't. The items could not be found, and he hadn't also paid as at then.
The vehicle that loaded the items, where is that vehicle now?
Chair, please, it will be difficult to know where the vehicle is now, but
no,
it's very obvious that the items could not get to the Eastern Regional medical stores.
Yeah, it means that the items were offloaded somewhere else. I asked of what about of the vehicle, because if the vehicle is available to the ministry, the reason why the item could not be sent to Koforia could be that the items were offloaded somewhere else. But the driver must be made to refund the money.
Yes, Chair, you are very right. And because we reported the matter to the CID with the driver's details and everything, we're expecting that by now would have gotten by that, and also...
When you reported the case, was the driver arrested?
Yes, he was.
And then he was bailed?
And some other, persons.
Well, people who bail him must be made to produce him or pay the money.
You heard excerpts of an interaction between James Kluche Aveji, the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee and Director of Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry of Health, Emma Ofori Achiman. Now, the National Blood Service has expressed concern over the Greater Accra Regional Hospital's delay in establishing a payment plan for services provided since 2022. The service indicates that Rich Hospital owes 63,000 cedis for blood processing. Additionally, the service disclosed that 22 other health facilities collectively owe approximately 200,000 cedis. Although recovery efforts from these facilities are ongoing, Chief Executive Officer of the service, Shirley Owusu-Ofori, has specifically urged the Rich Hospital to submit a payment plan, as efforts to do has proven futile.
Tema General Hospital used to owe very much, but with the kind courtesy of Director General of Ghana Health Service, we managed to get them to commit to a payment plan. And therefore, they have reduced their sum to barely from 61 to now 7,195. And almost a majority of the other facilities have also reduced their balance. We have a challenge with RAGE, and we have once again craved the indulgence of Director General recently to remind them or to prompt them to give us a payment plan. They paid a sum of 37,000 and have since not paid any more. And the outstanding sum now is 63,084 cedis. But for the rest of the facilities, they have been paying and coming back to us regularly for blood supplies.
You heard the Chief Executive Officer of the National Blood Service, Shirley Owusu-Ofori. Now, a group of residents of Lion Accra embarked on a demonstration this morning against the purported sale of state lands to members of the political class. The protesters, made up of various unions and associations within the traditional area, aim to reclaim state lands that were released to the state, which they allege are being shared among the cronies of the government. Well, the Greater Accra Regional Minister Daniel Ni Kwate Titus Glover responded to their demonstration, and he has assured that he will convey the concerns of the youth groups to the President Akufo-Addo for a resolution.
All efforts to get this land released to them has proved futile, and the fact that they have no other solution than to pour to the streets to express their dissatisfaction to government. We appeal to them that, look, it's important that as the new regional minister, nothing has come to my table. They should give me that benefit of the doubt so that I can go and speak over to His Excellency the President. They said no. They want to pour to the streets. So we want to take this opportunity to let the public know that government is still interested in dialoguing with the last tool and also with the youth.
You heard the Greater Accra Regional Minister Daniel Nee quoted Titus Glover, and that's our package for you for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka, Accra. For more stories, please log on to citinewsroom.com. My name is Ajuatin Kramadumna. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon.
Citi News, we speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302-224959 and get interactive on Facebook, Citi 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at Citi 973.